And good morning, everybody. Perrin Lovett here for Prepper Post News, courtesy of Freedom Prepper and Freedom Roasters Coffee. Once again, sporting the sweatshirt, and I'll tell you why in a second. It's Monday, March 8th, 2021, and welcome to everybody at the channel and the community, everywhere else, especially all of those of you listening to the podcast. And there are some pictures I want you to look at, so maybe go over to YouTube and check it out. I am wearing the hoodie once again because I've got some modeling competition. Apparently, this stuff is going into the wild of social media. So I of course don't know who you are, young lady, but you look smashing wearing. In fact, I have to say you look better than me wearing this stuff. And we've got a picture. I got the picture this weekend. I want to share it with you of what may be the first flavored batch of Freedom Roasters coffee, and that's the hot and spicy. Still working on names for that, and I'm not quite sure. I'm sure it'll be good, but I will have to try it and see. And I just remembered. The pods, are out. They come in a lovely box of 24. I'm keeping this one as a prop here. Has a place on the little globe. I finally tried one of those over the weekend. I had gone out on a little peddling promotion run and gave some to a friend of mine to check out. And I asked him, how was it? He said, well, come in and try one yourself. And I gotta say it's good. I think this is the dark roast we went with. It's very good, but how should I put this? I can still say that I've never quite had a K-cup of any kind that fully lived up to the brew your own experience. So we pack, I think it's 15 grams of coffee in each pod, so that's above industry standards. Make sure if you have a setting on your Keurig, let it go as strong as possible. If it just pours through, you're gonna miss some flavor. Or better yet, man up and put your big shovelfuls of the good stuff in the old pot and let it sit a while. I don't know what the young lady who looks better than me in the shirt. Moving on. Let's talk about our featured topic today. So lately I've been going on and on about this book, Unrestricted Warfare, which really answers a lot of questions that unfortunately certainly nobody in the mainstream is asking. And I'm going to do a full review of that. It's a very short book. It's about 220 pages, and maybe 40 or 50 of those are notes. So it's a very short, easy read. Or some people say, I say it's easy. Some people say it's not. But these guys wrote it in 1999, and it makes so much sense. And people are, even the mainstream is talking about the possibility of some kind of, civil war or major disturbance in the United States soon. And I've come to the conclusion that soon meant starting, 10 or 12 or more years ago. This thing is in progress now, and this book really does a great job of explaining why. I may have to kind of edit that into my my series on the breakdown, which parts 2 and 3 are filmed, and one of those at least is coming soon. We got plenty of time, especially if this featured story turns out to be true. We may not have to worry about any kind of warfare whatsoever. No unpleasantness at all. No more political strife. No more bad things. But because to have bad things happen to your society, you have to have a society, which means having people. And I stumbled across a forecast from Deagle, which does an outfit that does military and economic forecasting. for various industries. Usual suspect kind of industries, people in the know. And this is one of their information sources so that they can plan on how to rob us more effectively. This is from 2017. They put out a forecast, a prediction that the population of the United States was going to go from 327 million, about what it was then, about what it is now, down to 100 million by 2025. And they did not explain why we were going to have a 227 million people drop off, 70% population reduction. And actually, if you go back in the stats, they had revised that figure up from 54 million. So, according to them, for unknown reasons, something is going to happen. Something that will make make Civil War irrelevant. It'll make getting around in traffic a lot easier, assuming there's fuel. There are just minor questions. As to is this the result? Do they know something? Obviously they do, but is this some kind of a great reset in process? It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We'll cover that when it happens. Those 30% of us that are left. Moving on. More depopulation in the. This is not depopulation. This is health and medicine, which may be the same thing. So I think it was 2 months ago, back when all the craziness was happening. I had a little short about the CEO of Pfizer, Pharmaceutical International Drug Dealer Corporation. And this guy was interviewed about, he had a new vaccine and he was not going to take it. And they kept asking him, well, why aren't you going to take the vaccine? And all he could do was just crack up laughing. Well, the Joker is still laughing, and according to the Jerusalem Post, he has still not taken his own vaccine. And in fact, because he has not, and maybe because he was laughing about it, he had to cancel a speaking event in Israel, laughing all the way to the Great Reset. Speaking of more fun, prepare yourself. I'm sure this is going to be a long, hot, crazy summer, much like the last one. Get ready for more riots, because apparently today, the 8th, kicks off jury selection in the case of Minnesota versus Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is the former police officer who was accused of killing Big Floyd, George Floyd, the small-time international film star and convicted violent felon who died of a drug overdose, poor health, and the coronavirus. Of course, that's not what the media has been reporting, but if you've watched the full video, and then if you've seen the body cam videos, if you've listened to the dispatch recordings, and if you read the autopsy report, this case probably should have never been brought, certainly as a first-degree murder case, in a sane America, which thank God we don't have anymore. It would coast to an acquittal. Will that happen? I have no idea. The law doesn't exist anymore. So, but if there is an acquittal, even if there's a conviction, it's going to be like a NBA championship win for your team. It's always riot time. So get ready for more of that. Big legal, and I think I'll leave the international film star. Those of you. So if you work for the NSA or the CIA, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the rest, I'm just making this stuff up. Just the way they make up laws in Washington. President Biden, who I think is being held prisoner, and I think we need to free the poor old guy because it's just elder abuse. His handlers are pushing programs that would, of course, legalize all illegal invaders in the United States right now, but would also, according to Breitbart, bring in 27 million plus new invaders just this decade. So they're going to add the equivalent of the population of California to a country that is allegedly under the worst pandemic with the worst economy and the worst, racism ever. So, of course, this is exactly the environment that you want to bring in 27 million more people. I guess maybe as, partial replacement for the 227 million we're going to be losing, according to the big club. Now, here's the really cool part. There was some what is that noise? Shut up. There was some contention in this 2020 presidential election. Now, I know that I forgot my script here. We have robust safeguards that prevent votes from being counted and so forth. Perfectly safe, nothing out of the ordinary. There's no fraud. Even though the other side now brags about it in Time magazine, there was no voter fraud. Nothing. There was nothing. 400,000 votes without chain of custody in Georgia. Elections being overturned by a judge in Mississippi. Didn't happen. It's all above board. I've been saying that, hypothetically, if there had been fraud, that was the last time, because next time it just won't be traceable. Not that anybody will be looking for it. H.R. 1, the For the People Act, anything ever worded like that, it's bad. This is the cover it all up so that it can never be detected and nobody ever even questions it again act. It's passed the House. Who knows what's going to happen in the Senate? Who knows? I mean, I know for a fact President Harris would sign it, or I wonder. I really hope they don't physically beat poor Joe Biden. But I wouldn't put it past them. They're evil people. The Heritage Foundation, for once in a long time, did something useful, and they did a very accurate summary of what H.R. 1, the For the People Act, will do. And it just, I have one question. What people are we talking about? If we're talking about the international banksters and the communist globalist thugs, yeah, that's the people this is for. The rubes, they'll go along with it because, if television tells them it's good, it's good. The rest of us, let's hope Deagle is correct. H.R. 1 would federalize and micromanage the election process administered by the states, imposing unnecessary, unwise, and unconstitutional mandates on the states and reversing the decentralization of the American electoral process, which is essential to the protection of our liberty and freedom. Well, yes, it is, but that goes against, the big club always winning, with a system that cannot be beaten. We had one shot to beat it, and that, instead we gave a rambling speech down in Texas about the wall that's not even complete and won't work. 27 million new people attesting to that. But, read through. They lay out the main points. Of course, they link to the law. What Congress is going to do is override state authority granted by the 14th Amendment. Now, I had always read that the Constitution controlled the statutes, not the other way around. Then again, I did not know about the Great Reset or unrestricted warfare. So it's a learning process. You just gotta, whatever comes down the pike, you gotta take it. There's a picture of the spicy roast coffee. We're going to need that. We're going to need the extra pick-me-up. I bet that'll keep you warm, really warm. I need to find out what Scott's putting in there. I suspect some kind of pepper. Good news about law coming out of the states, not Washington. The Truth About Guns has a great little article about constitutional carry. Now, the Constitution is, gone with the wind, which, by the way, is also being banned, like Dr. Seuss and everything else. But I think 18 states now, they call it constitutional carry, like that's part of the law, but really what this means is there's no law. There's no prohibition whatsoever on carrying firearms. Vermont has always allowed free carry. Something about free people, being armed, and there's nothing wrong with that. So there's no reason to prohibit it. In fact, some city in Vermont passed a prohibitive ordinance 118 years ago, which was immediately stricken by the local court. So they've had freedom forever. So that's one of those things I'm talking about. That's a blue state. Bernie Sanders, they're a bunch of socialists. They're the freest gun state in the country. And again, there are 9 socialists total. They all live in Burlington. Don't worry about them. Beautiful state. But let's see. We've also got, New Hampshire, Maine, West Virginia, Kentucky, Alaska, Mississippi. Huge chunks. This actually might make, look at the map. Look at they have this cool time-lapse map that shows you how the country is slowly going from very repressive to totally open and free. Red, there is no red left. Yellow is may issue states where you got to get a permit, and it's up to the, and it's the states you would expect, California, New York. Blue is shall issue. That's about half the country now. You show up and they, I don't see Hawaii. Nobody, Hawaii is yellow, so that's a may issue. Blue is good. What you want is green. Green is where you don't ask for permission. There's no permit. You just, pack and go. This may be a good map. The last one for this year about these could be viable chunks of the country. This is much more ideologically correct than that the stuff the popular press is pushing. Take a look at that. That's green is good. And now for some not so good stuff. I got a trio of stories about not where the nation is headed, but where it is and where it's been for some time. Fox 45 Baltimore has a heartwarming story about a local arts high school. Always beware of those. This isn't even my usual sad public school stuff. This is something much deeper. There's a student who's a senior who all of a sudden is going to be put back in 9th grade because I think he's only passed 2 or 3 classes the whole time he's been in high school. And of course, he's only been in high school about half the time because he's absent, 300 days or something. He has a 0.13 GPA, not a 1.3, but a 0.13 F grade point average. And yet, that ranks him in the top half of his class. Now, many excuses are made, aspersions are cast. Friends, that's and I'm not even going to bother to say, hey, people, homeschool your Baltimore kids, because what's the point? Baltimore, if you enjoy electricity and running water, evacuate now, because 0.13 just okay. CBS News had an attack story on Christian nationalism. They hate Christians, they hate Christ, and they don't like nationalism because they are globalists. They seek to destroy the nations and enslave the people. Anyone who would save the people, literally, in the political sense, but also in the eternal salvation sense, is bad. So they have this story, and they consult 3 experts about what Christian nationalism is. And I would suggest that none of the 3 are nationalists or Christians. They are, the first guy is some sort of pastor out of Tennessee, and he plainly says he's not a Christian. He is a Judeo-Christian. I suppose he is under Bishop Ben Shapiro, and he lays out his rather stunning fake theology that has really nothing to do with Jesus, and it's really not American either. So, and the other 2 aren't any better. But there's a reason. There's a reason why, when they have a story explaining what Christian nationalism is, they immediately go to people who are against it. And, what is it? Well, it's being a Christian, a real Christian, and also believing in the nations. Omni-nationalism, not just nations for Christians or for any particular group, but for every group. It's if you read either the Old or New Testament, God is pretty much clear on the fact that the nations exist for a reason, and they will even exist in heaven. And anyone who tries to upset that and tries to rebuild the Tower of Babel is trying to pull a fast one on you, or worse. And the question, the title is America a Christian nation? Now, America was certainly founded by Christians. It was a Christian nation, but of course, America has been subsumed. The United States is not a nation, nor is it Christian. But to the extent that Christianity, to the extent that America still exists, it's still Christian. But I don't know how the population decrease is going to affect that either, because we don't get to pick which 70% goes out. So, but we do get the hot and spicy coffee. So let me just roll through this next crazy one. We have real Christians doing really good things. The legitimate Christians in the United Methodist Church are chomping at the bit to go ahead and break it up. They want to leave. For 2 years now, they've been putting off their annual meeting where they were supposed to vote on kicking out the Sodomites. And if you remember, there was a vote about 2 years ago. 53% came down in favor of Jesus, and the other 47% is in favor of the world. They want to. It would be best to kick the heathens out, but they can't get around to doing that. So these folks may just break away and leave. I think this is that's a good alternative, and this is one time when division is probably a good thing. Check that story out from the Associated Press, which you may recall told us some things about some things. Last word of the day is Disney. I read somewhere, several places, that J.R.R. Tolkien did not like Walt Disney from very early on, and apparently for very good reasons. The great professor had a sixth sense for picking out wickedness. And here is a wonderful example from 1968 about how deep and how far back the rot at Disney goes. Watch this video that I linked to. It's called Family Planning, and it's presented by Walt Disney, and it may go half the distance or so towards explaining the depopulation that we're facing today by design. And this was in 1968, before Disney World ever opened. They were already at work. Maybe Walt didn't really know. Maybe somebody pulled a fast one on Walt, and he got conned into making this. But very scary stuff. So the final word is Freedom Roasters Coffee. The merchandise should be on sale before too long, along with that hot and spicy coffee. Get you some pods. Better yet, just go ahead and load up on bag after bag of the good stuff, ground or whole bean, for you. I was also asked to mention that today is International Women's Day. I don't know much about that. I did some looking. I'll just say that I really, really, really like women. Not so much communism, but happy Ladies' Day, women. Yay. See you guys on Tuesday.